It's Super Bowl Sunday. The stage is set for the biggest day on the sports calendar and one of the biggest days to put money on the line.
If they win a bet, they're going to get paid.
This week we're in Atlantic City, New Jersey. This state is leading the charge when it comes to states making sports betting legal.
We're diversifying our properties.
Now as sports betting is going on the books in more places nationwide,
we wanted to do something that appealed to a younger crowd.
Are sports books and more wagers a way to boost economies?
We have done over $5 billion in scholarship aid.
We're looking at whether these issues are jackpots or busts. This is The Race. Welcome to The Race. I'm Chris Stewart. We're here in Atlantic City this week, which is home to casinos, its iconic boardwalk, and now legalized sports betting. It is big business here in New Jersey, and that has brought some hope to a place that has seen its ups and downs. Since the 1930s, the sound of the world's largest pipe organ has been a constant inside Atlantic City's Boardwalk Hall. An oceanside city that's been in a sea of change.
I grew up actually not so far from this hall, and I've sort of been working on the boardwalk since I was about 6 years old.
Anthony Kachura used to own several businesses along the boardwalk. He's a straight shooter.
Love and hate Atlantic City all at once. It had so much potential.
From 2014 to 2016, 5 of this city's 12 casinos closed. 11,000 jobs were lost. Today, the Trump Plaza still stands on the boardwalk. It's more than 24 floors, empty. But there is a new optimism for casinos here, sparked by legal sports betting.
This is the William Hill Sportsbook in Tropicana, and we spent a lot of money on it, and it's gorgeous.
65% of the people of the state of New Jersey voted that they want to do it.
New Jersey won a Supreme Court case in 2018. It cleared the way for states to legalize sports betting if they choose.
We did about $300 million in the state in revenue for 2019. $125 million of that is in Atlantic City.
Steve Callender is a casino executive and the head of the Casino Association of New Jersey. Last May, his state became the first ever to beat Nevada when it came to money legally bet on sports.
It's safer, it's more convenient. I mean, there's some aspects of the other side that are never going to change, but I think for somebody that just wants to make a bet and not have to worry about it, this is the easiest thing to do.
New ownership came in to reopen 2 of the closed casinos in 2018, adding hope for those like Chamber of Commerce head Michael Chait that the millions living within driving distance will make the trip.
An enormous amount of buying power, and they're looking for experiences, and I think sports gaming provides this unique setting.
But it seems like it's just a never-ending thing.
Kachura thinks it'll take more investment than just sports betting and casinos to make Atlantic City thrive the way it did when he was growing up. But he'll always have hope that people will continue to bet on his town. One that has a deep sense of history, mixed in with the flair of casino lights.
I'd like to think the city will reinvent itself again. It has a number of times already. There's a certain resilience about the city.
Now, gambling laws are different depending on which state you're in. Annie Taylor's taking a look at what's legal and where.
Chris, Super Bowl Sunday is one of the most popular betting events of the year, and this year more Americans will place legal bets on the game. In March of 2018, the Supreme Court overturned a federal ban on sports betting. Today, sports betting is legal in 20 states plus DC. A couple dozen more are considering legalization. These states aren't considering any legalization bills right now. Legal sports betting laws are creating new streams of revenue. Since the Supreme Court ruling, $17 billion in legal sports bets have brought in $150 billion in profits. Still, the American Gambling Association estimates the illegal sports betting industry is worth $150 billion annually. Experts told PolitiFact that underground market isn't going anywhere. They say illegal gamblers want to keep established offshore accounts. They're happy with their experiences and don't have to report the income to the IRS. Analysts believe that the growing legal market will actually create a more dedicated customer, especially for those who follow their teams closely. I'm Annie Taylor for The Race.
As more states legalize sports betting, businesses want to become the go-to spot to place bets. Usher Qureshi found out how the changes will protect gamblers.
It's Super Bowl weekend, one of the busiest for sports bars in America. In our nation's capital, Lou's City Bar is working on a new way to bring in more customers, legal sports betting.
We're trying to do everything we can to create interest. If we can turn this place into a little Caesar's Palace on Saturdays and Sundays, so people don't have to go to Vegas.
General Manager Mark Hellowell says it's a process. He applied for a license that would let people place bets at his bar, then posted the permit as required.
It has to stay up for 30 days.
Leaders consider several factors during that hearing, then either approve or deny the permit. But it's not just D.C. Legalized sports betting is quickly moving across the country. George Calhoun is one of the attorneys who helped convince the U.S. Supreme Court to allow states other than Nevada to legalize sports betting. He says the move will help protect gamblers.
They know they're doing something that's legal. They're going to get the protection of, if they have a problem, they're going to have access to the courts and to law enforcement. And they're going to have certainty that if they win a bet, they're going to get paid.
The American Gambling Association says 26 million Americans will bet $6.8 billion on this year's Super Bowl, up 15% from last year. I'm Usher Qureshi for The Race.
One of the concerns when you talk about gambling is addiction. Alicia Nieves is taking a look at ways to address the problem.
85% of Americans have gone into a casino and gambled within the last year. For many, it's just a fun night out, but for others, it gets out of control fast.
It's a significant public health problem.
Keith White heads the National Council on Problem Gambling. It estimates about 2% or 6 million Americans have a gambling addiction that can be as gripping of an addiction as drugs and alcohol.
The brain of a pathological gambler, someone with a severe gambling problem, looks much more like the brain of someone who's addicted to cocaine.
Someone whose mind and life was changed because of their gambling addiction is Byron Fogan.
I lost everything, including my freedom for a period of time.
Fogan was once a successful lawyer. He had it all, a family, a nice home, nice cars, but then began gambling regularly in 2010.
It was intoxicating. And you were able to escape whatever other problems you had by going to the casino and feeling like a big shot. The reality is that the only reason why you were a big shot is because you kept on losing all your money to that casino.
Within 3 years, Fogan lost his law license, his home, and everything he had worked so hard for.
The way it feels is just like you're falling into a hole and you're looking for a hold on the walls and you can't grab it. You just keep falling.
Rock bottom hit in August of 2013, and he got help.
It's been almost 7 years. And cleaning up the wreckage of my past has taken a lot out of me. But I can say on the other side of it is that I'm no longer a slave to my addictions. I get to talk about it. And it's my hope that what I went through, other people don't have to go through if they hear my story and they know to reach for help at that first nip of problem.
The National Council on Problem Gambling estimates $1.1 billion a year, or 1% of legalized gambling, is needed to help problem gamblers and further education on gambling addiction and awareness. But right now, 40 states spend only about $73 million, and 10 states allocate no money.
One of our most important points is trying to mainstream gambling addiction within other risk behavior and education. So when you get the discussion at home, at school, at church about sex, drugs, and rock and roll, make sure gambling's in there as well.
For The Race, I'm Alicia Nieves.
Some believe an increase in legal sports betting will increase the number of people with gambling addiction. The National Council on Problem Gambling recommends states reserve at least 1% of gambling revenues for responsible gaming and problem gambling programs. Online gambling company Betting USA recently pledged 1% of its profits to the NCPG. The group says most states fell well short of that 1% goal. The NCPG is taking other steps to address problem gambling. It created a resolution with specific things that lawmakers, companies, and the media can do to help reduce harm. The organization also supports the Responsible Gaming Education Week. It's happening in March this year. It raises awareness about problems and offering potential solutions.
Some state lotteries are supposed to fund public schools. We're going to take a look at how that system works next.